Hello.
And bonjour.
Bonjour.
How are you doing, Joss?
Fine.
This is Isabelle Nakamoto here in Boston.
So you are
This is
traveling.
our weekly get together. Say it again.
You are traveling.
I am traveling. We all travelers, but I'm in a little bit of a new position here because usually when I go to a conference, it's a crypto conference.
Yeah,
And
that was exactly what I was thinking. Is it a crypto conference?
Well, that's what's interesting. I just realized when I go to a crypto conference and I'm cryptic with my beautiful mask,
Yeah.
people ignore me. They say, well, it's just another crypto influencer, or maybe it's Satoshi Nakamoto. It's actually Isabelle Nakamoto here, but people kind of, well, this is crypto. Everybody's a little weird in crypto.
Absolutely.
And so the mask is a little wasted on the crypto crowd, so to speak, right? But the
Yeah.
beauty here, I just realized as I put my mask on, is that
Yeah.
this is the biotech crowd. And for the
Okay.
biotech crowd, a guy going around, or a gal for that matter, moving around with glasses on, and I might get arrested. Certainly, a lot of people are looking at me, which is good. Of course, I want the attention, obviously. I want
Yeah.
the
That's the
anonymous
way of
attention.
being famous.
And
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I was even thinking, and I might do the experiment of getting out and in of the exhibitor floor with all of you here and see
Hmm.
if they stop me. If they stop me. Excuse me, Isabel, what's the deal with the mask? And then what will I say? Well, I say, well, uh, nothing. What's wrong with you? You're not wearing any mask. Or maybe you're wearing a mask that you cannot see, obviously,
Mm.
right? My
Absolutely.
mask is visible.
But
Now, maybe
I, I
yours, you don't realize that you're
I
wearing a
think
mask.
that's the beauty that you give to us is that we all are wearing a mask and we can't see it, but it's here because of usage, because of obligation, and you just make it real that we are doing that. So in a way, you are giving us something really interesting, some thinking about. We have to think about that, I think.
Um, the topic today might be who is Isabel Nakamoto and why is a mask in some ways, or what does it mean to be wearing a mask?
Mm,
Because I saw a quote yesterday from Kafka. He
mhm.
was saying that life is a bal masqué, a masquerade where everybody is wearing a mask.
Mm,
And Kafka was saying that he feel out of place and awkward or sad because he came to that party, that mask party, with his real face, and everybody else, of course, in the bal masqué of life is wearing a mask.
okay.
And so Kafka was saying, well, I was out of place. I was sad. I was
Mm,
awkward because of that.
okay.
So, in a way, that is true. We
Yeah.
all wearing a mask, and so do I.
Yeah.
So let's see what security does at the entrance of the exhibitor hall. That'd be a little adventure. You know, the only time I was actually questioned for wearing a
Yeah.
mask is not in the airport, and I did wear it in the airport, including to board the airport, by the way. I tested that, and I didn't have any
Yeah.
problem. It's
Yeah.
actually early, well, that was kind of before the pandemic. Maybe that
Oh,
explains why. At a crypto conference in San Francisco, where the security got me. The
okay.
security got me.
Mm,
And I think they wouldn't do it now because people are used to masks with the pandemic and so on.
mm.
So we'll see what's going to happen here. So they didn't prevent me from exiting. The question is, our friendly security guard of that, when I come back in, what is going to happen?
That will be
Right?
nice
That's going to be
to
the
see.
moment.
Yeah, let's
That's
see.
pretty exciting, right? You
Yeah,
ready to do it?
absolutely.
Right. So I've got a pass here, so
Hmm.
I should be able to go back. All right. I think I saw the. I had a vision for a second. You know Craig Wright, of course.
Yeah.
I I thought I just saw Craig Wright.
Yeah, but
Oh, nothing
you
happened. It's
already
nearly
know that he isn't
disappointing.
the real
The,
Satoshi Nakamoto, so that doesn't
wait,
count.
the so I'm nearly disappointed that the security just let me. It's just nobody cares anymore. Oh, all right. So so I made it, and security did not stop me.
Nice.
Did not stop me. Today, by the way, I met someone here at the
Hmm.
conference. Uh, he had a necklace with a very interesting piece of jewelry. It looked like rays of sun, and one of the rays of sun has a little key at the end. Little key.
Okay.
It was beautiful. I thought I think I might want a some kind of mysterious symbolic
Mhm.
object
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
And I asked him a question that you will remember. Um Before talking about that question, I want to remind the audience, people who are new to the podcast, who is Richard? Richard who is just Richard, Mr. Richard. Uh, Josh is a shaman, a corporate shaman, and a personal shaman. And he has been my shaman for a long time.
Mm.
And he's one of your slogan, maybe in French, is le révélateur de vos beautés cachées. Yeah, did I
Yes.
say it right?
Yeah.
Right?
And
So
what inspired me
revealing.
is what inspired me is an American film, which is Hidden Beauty, or when where Will Smith is revealing things. So there is an American film about that.
You have to repeat that. Isabel did not get it.
Yeah,
Say it
I
again.
said I extracted the idea of hidden beauty from a movie made in USA with Will Smith. Really, really,
And
really, really nice beauty, nice film about love, about death, and about time, and that's
what
one.
is the title of the movie?
Yeah, the movie, and I
What,
was so shocked by the movie that I said, "Oh, I have to take that idea of hidden beauties."
can you repeat the title of the movie?
I think it is hidden beauties. I will have to search on the internet
Agent. Okay.
as you speak. I am
Okay.
looking at the
Okay.
internet. Um,
It, there's something about beauty, of course, that is interesting, which is then we'll go back to the key. But there's something about beauty which is interesting, which is beauty is always hidden in some ways. The real beauty is the beauty you see in your mind. And
Oh,
so,
I've got the title in English. So in French, it's beauté cachée, but in English, it's a little bit different. It's collateral beauty. Colla-
oh,
colla- Collateral beauty. Collateral beauty.
collateral beauty. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
And
that's
the
in
real
English.
beauty is a beauty that you create in your mind, of course.
Of course.
The beauty that you don't see, uh, and the beauty that you imagine. This is why clothes are so important because they both hide and create the beauty in many ways. What's hidden is what's the most beautiful. And so it's actually not completely unnatural to hide a
Mm.
body or to hide a face, even, right? Of course, in some religion and culture, it's standard.
Mm.
There's nothing really unnatural about hiding what's beautiful and letting the imagination connect the dots of what you can see and what you cannot see.
Yeah.
Also, it goes back to Le Petit Prince, the Little
Yeah.
Prince,
Yeah.
right? You remember that phrase from the Petit Prince, from Saint-Exupéry.
Yeah. The only thing
The,
the importance
the,
is what you
the,
see with.
l'essentiel, l'essentiel est invisible pour les yeux.
Mm.
Hein? What's
Exactly.
essential is invisible to the eyes.
Exactly.
I guess that's part of it. That's part of it as well. And you know me, I always both like to get talk about politics and not, and religion and not, and these are two topics that we're not allowed to talk about too much in social media. But I actually a little bit object to. I'm gonna say something anyway. You can stop me after. I actually find that the Western judgment on
Yeah.
Muslim women
Yeah.
wearing a full veil or partial veil
Yeah.
is lazy. Well, first, it assumes that they're not doing it on their own volition, which is a little bit insulting, even if sometimes that's true. It's a little bit insulting to tell a woman, you're wearing this, but it's not your decision, right? You're
Mm.
doing it because your husband, your father, or society,
Mm.
and even if there's an element of truth in that, it is really quite of a statement to
Mhm.
say that to a woman. Maybe no, maybe they decide. When
Mm.
we decide to follow a social norm, well, sometimes we decide, sometimes we don't decide, but certainly, um, certainly, sometimes we decide to follow certain norm in our society,
Mm.
uh, and so, and I feel that the way we're looking at it in the West is a bit condescending.
Mm.
I respect all religions, and obviously there are excesses in all religions, but I feel that hiding your face is actually absolutely not unnatural, obviously.
Yeah, I think playing with the what's hidden, playing with what you can see and not is really interesting, and we should be more allowed to do it more freely. And as you said before, COVID, a mask in the West was so strange. It's people uh, from the East are more used to that. And that's nice that now we can play more with being visible or invisible. So I think
Right.
that's something that will change probably in the future, and that's interesting.
And of course, in my case, what's interesting here is that the way I'm visible is by hiding.
Yeah,
Nobody
everybody
will
is
notice
seeing
me,
you because you are
right?
hiding something,
Because I'm
so they
hiding.
want to
That's right.
know who is behind that. So that's really nice.
Right. And also because obviously I'm breaking a social code, which is an important one, at
Absolutely,
least in the West, which is you're
absolutely.
supposed to to show your ID. If you think about it, you're supposed
Mm,
socially
mm.
to tell people who you are. It's like an obligation for KYC. You know the term KYC, of course,
Absolutely,
in
that's
the
KYC
crypto
with
world. Know your customer, right?
yeah, that's
So
KYC.
it's a social KYC that
Mm,
we are obligated to do or feel obligated to do. But why? Why would you? If I walk around, why do you have the right to know who I am? Right? I mean, what do you need that information for?
yeah.
So in a way, I am breaking a rule by saying, well, you cannot have my face. You cannot
Mm,
know who I am.
Mm.
Maybe I'm famous, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm beautiful, maybe I'm ugly.
Mm.
Maybe I'm a man, maybe I'm a woman with a funny
Mm.
voice. It doesn't matter, or
It
maybe it
doesn't.
does matter. But I don't give you the right
Mm.
to say it. I break a social code by taking away that right for you. And it actually could be perceived as a very aggressive, I said that last time,
Yeah.
position that I'm taking. Right? That's why I like it.
Mm.
Um,
What I'm feeling is that only someone who knows French culture can like to break the rule. Usually in USA, people are more followers, and usually people with French culture are used to really like to break
well,
rule. As
I'm
I live,
wondering about that.
I know that
I
they,
understand
they
what you're
they want
saying.
to demonstrate something.
Well, and the connection, by the way, might not be perfect here. So, to all of our listeners and fans of both Joss and Isa, the Joss and Isa show, if there's a little bit of connectivity issue, bear with us. I'd like to channel what you said about the fact that French people are more open to breaking codes or breaking rules, breaking social norms. Um, I don't feel that way. I
Okay,
don't feel that way. I feel that I'm freer in America
okay,
than I will be in France. I really do. Um, Certainly in business, that's true. The rules of business have been banned, have been reinvented by America more than France, I would argue. Do you agree with that?
yeah, I agree with business. You can do really what you want, but it's because we've got so much rules in France that we are like the
Ah,
champion of breaking them. We know exactly how to break and to
I can see that.
bypass
Yes, yes.
everything. That's the idea. That was the idea.
You know, uh, I can see that, but also maybe the reason why I am, and I see that just as a small provocation, I'm
Hmm.
anti-French, is because France is about rules.
Yeah.
It's about, at some level, I know people look at France, they're romantic, they're romantic. There is such an acceptance that we are supposed to follow rules in France. There's such an acceptance of the amount of power that the government and the church, even, right? And well, less the church, no, actually, not anymore. As a matter of fact, no. But certainly the government and fashion and sort of codes of behavior,
Hmm.
I think it's more, I would say, even oppressing. And
Hmm.
the example I use often is that if you pick a name in France, right? At least when I was born, you
Yeah.
couldn't pick your name. You have a name of approved names by the government, pretty much. And the city hall could say, that happened to me actually, not to dox myself, but the
Okay.
government could say, now, um, Jocelyn, the way you spell it, no, we don't, no, it's not. I have Joseph, I have Jose. No, Jocelyn, no, we don't approve that name. Incredible. It will be completely ridiculous in America, that concept, right?
See,
Now
I
I know it loosened up, and of course, Justin, you were able to get Justin as a name, and now ethnic or unusual or regional names or cultural names are much more accepted. But that's an example of the
but
normative aspects of French culture.
now you are explaining to me why I like to stay in France because I love challenge. And that's why I've got my company in France. It's because it's really more challenging. So you feel really stronger if you go through all the papers and all the problem and overcharge and all the taxes. So I like to see this as a challenge.
I think, by the way, you and I have obviously important differences and important commonality. But I think you're right. I think an important commonality is our love of individual freedom and being different, right? The right to be different.
Yeah, the right to be different.
The right to be different. And yeah, and it's very important, I think,
I
to
think
us.
I found a way to do it without having too much trouble, because in France, if you are an artist, you can really nearly do everything you want. Nearly take
Yes,
so strange film with so strange picture. You can present anything and say, "Oh, this is a piece of art." Then that goes through, and that's
yes.
why I think that's why I put artists in my company name. So it's a way to protect myself and say everything I do is just artist, so I can do it. So that way I
Uh,
get less trouble.
this is why I like art as well, and this is why I like religion, by the way, which is
Mhm.
sounds like a weird logic, but we can get into it. But you're right. Art is about the arbitrary of both the artist sort of decision and the randomness of the fact that that code. Go ahead. Hi, another friend looking very friendly. I'm gonna take a selfie
One
with
mask against one
that.
mask.
Uh, I'm
So
gonna take.
people, you
Uh,
feel less foolish if you wear a bear as a mask or an animal. Yeah, that's nice.
it's my friend. Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting how same thing. If you're a mascot in a mask,
Yeah.
of course. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, yeah, of course. I'm happy to. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Take care. I love it.
So
See, my
so
way of
it's the
becoming
start
famous is to
of
become
being
anonymous.
famous. So now you are a star now.
You'll have to say it again.
Now you become a star. You become famous. So it's just the beginning of being famous.
Well, to become famous, I think I need to become anonymous.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's right. I think that's right. Uh, but so we were saying in art, you're right. There's a certain there's no need to justify art in some ways,
Yeah,
right? First, the artist can create anything they want, and nobody can
yeah,
say it's not art. They might not like it, and they might not value it, and the market of art might not recognize it. But nobody can say it's not art.
absolutely.
And I like religion for some reason, meaning that if I follow a certain religion, someone could say, "Well, I don't agree with what you do, or I think it's not good," or, but it's my religion, and uh, I don't need to justify. It can be arbitrary. It can be even not following the standards of the rest of society. So both art and religion and masks are creating freedom. That's what I like about it. Are creating
Yes.
freedom. And now I'm unmasking myself politically a little bit. I would argue that companies also create great freedom because they are counter powers, right? To to the biggest powers that exist today in the world, right? Which are no longer religions, which are no longer which are countries, which are governments, which are nation states, especially big, powerful nation states like the USA. So I like all of these things because they're counterpowers. They naturally limit the extraordinary power that a country like the US in particular, less France. Well, France used to have, of course, that powerful situation back in the day. Now it's more humble, obviously, because it's small. It doesn't have that much power. It's sort of a in many levels, even culturally, it's not what it used to be, right? But a country like the US that is so amazing in many ways needs strong counterpowers. And religion, art, crypto, I would argue, social media as well, and big companies actually. And the bigger the company, that's why some people say, "Oh, I don't like big company because they have too much power." Well, if you don't like company because they have too much power, and you like the US that has so much power, incredible power, it's a little bit illogical. I would question whether you really like freedom. So I veered into politics. Uh, uh, I realized one thing is that I gave myself a bit of a political embargo. So I don't talk politics in social media without my mask. So it's a bit of an exutoire. It's a bit of an
Okay, I
opportunity
understand.
to say a few things here.
But as I am not masked, I never speak about politics. That's
I
too dangerous.
understand, and I respect that. No need to react. I understand. Yeah.
But I agree that art
So
is a counterpower, and that you need that kind. It's not nice to have power in only one hand, whether it's a religious one or a company one or a government one. It's nice to have a lot of people having more power, and counterpower is helpful for that. That's
yeah,
what I read.
and this is why I like religions with an S, with an
Yeah,
S.
yeah,
Right? I like when there are multiple religions, so they cancel each other out a little bit. You can pick yours, but
exactly.
no other religion can really impose behavior
Yeah,
too much. Um, so I know we're getting toward the end of this
yeah.
get together here, guys.
Yeah.
Um, in the last few one, we had that beautiful tradition where you think about, I guess you think about nothing, and out of that comes a nugget of wisdom for
Okay.
our audience.
Yeah.
And I assume it comes from just sensing the vibes. So, despite the poor connection, I see my image come in and out. What would be for today your aphorism, your phrase, your recommendation to our audience, or to me?
Provoke, invoke, be the one who is saying, and people listen. That's it.
Uh,
So